Okay, can everybody see my screen now? Okay, can I get someone to confirm if you can see my screen before I proceed? It's very important, make sure that you guys can see my screen.
Yes, I can see the screen.
Okay, wonderful, thank you very much. We are all ready to go. Wonderful. So today we want to deepen the discussion regarding e-commerce in the area of looking at the shopping cart in great detail. And then we will also get into what we call gateway. So gateway is a synonym or another word for payment systems that is used for e-commerce transactions more directly online. And then we will also look at the gateway analysis in detail. So today I will focus a lot on my discussion on gateway, which is another word for payment systems. It's important when a business provides a product or service, they want to be paid for that service. It's not for free, nor is it what we call a barter system. A barter system means an exchange. So you're very good at cutting hair, then you go for someone that has food, they give you food and you cut their hair. We call that a barter system. That was the first type of payment gateway that human beings had. But because of the lack of coincidence or value, we went to payments. And then we graduated from money, physical exchange, and to now electronic. So that's what we're going to discuss in detail, the payment gateways associated with e-commerce platforms. And then we'll look ahead and also reserve some time to discuss your group project. I received a lot of good questions, and I was able to post those answers in our classroom platform. But just in case between the time you asked your question and now you would like further answers, please feel free to ask those questions again. Okay. Last week, I also sent a video regarding the group project. Before I cover any new material, I believe it would be a very good time and place for me to pause and ask, does anyone have any more questions? If you don't have the ability to speak it, you can type it in our group chat, or you can also use our classroom platform and post a question. One of the main questions that I received, just for everyone to understand if you didn't get a chance to read our group response, was, do you have to build a website for this project? And the answer is no. No website is required to be built. This project is all PowerPoint, taking the information from the business plan outline and then creating PowerPoint slides to answer those questions or provide that information. Then I also asked you to create a commercial, which you can attach with the PowerPoint slide or separate. But I will prefer that you put it inside the PowerPoint slide as a video. If you need tutorial on how to do that, please feel free to let me know. Okay, Also, there was a place where it could have been confusing about create a fake domain. So when we say domain, I will try to illustrate that for you before we begin. So when you are going to a website, you type in www.coolhats.com. It says a fake one. It could be real or not, but something that you call your business. So coolhats.com, it's a fake domain. I just made that domain up right now for this exercise. So that's what I mean by create any domain that you want to call your e-commerce. And I think I want you to get into the habit of using that in your presentation. Then we also discussed create a product or service catalog. So on your e-commerce website, what are you going to be selling? You can create a few products. It doesn't have to be a lot. So a few products could be, for example, 5 to 10, okay? If it's a service, maybe a few, like maybe 3 to 5 different type of services that you offer as an e-commerce platform that you're selling. And then I also asked that you create a 2-minute commercial. So using any device you have, it could be your laptop, it could be your tablets, it could be your phone, anything that you have. This is where I want to see how creative the team works together, because I have a place for creativity where you record a 2-minute commercial advertising your business. So to let people know exactly what you offer. And then create a marketing plan, which we went over in great detail. People, product, place, price, and promotion. So we call that the 5 P's of marketing. So provide some information for each P. You don't have to go into great detail, just enough analysis to make your point. And then how am I scoring this? It's a total of 100 points. So it's a very big project. And in your groups, using your group leader or anyone that you appoint as a leader to ensure that everyone participates. So in my other lecture, normally my students will assign themselves some of the tasks. So maybe depending on the numbers of people in the group. So let's say there are 10 people in the group and you have 5 different parts of the assignment. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in each part, you can give 2 people 1 part to do, 2 people 1 part to do. And then everybody brings the assignment together. That is how, it's just a suggestion of how you can divide the work. Because one person can do all the work. And remember, everybody in your group will receive the same grade. So it's very important that everyone begins to work together. That's extremely important. When is it due? It will be due exactly a week from today, which will be the 31st for you. It will be a Monday for you. The 31st, when we come to class, or before, if you complete it, please feel free to send it to my colleague, and then we'll put it together for you. But yes, it will be due on the 31st before class. If you need more time, If you run into some challenges or roadblocks, please let me know. I hope this helps anyone if you had any questions for clarification. Please, is there any questions for clarification? Okay. I wouldn't go over the 5 Ps. There is a video that provides you great detail on what the 5 Ps are. Let's do a recap of last week. Last week, we discussed the business models that are into e-commerce, the options that many e-commerce will have. So when e-commerce set up businesses, they set up businesses in different types of models beyond the obvious ones that we know. Some of the obvious ones that we know are product-driven, where products are sold online. When I say products, it could be electronics, it could be furniture, it could be clothes, it could be even groceries, food that are sold online. But then there are other types that are not very conventional. Conventional means it's not very common. Advertising, affiliates, brokerage, commerce itself in the areas of retail, marketplace, auction, like eBay, community, places where people share. We talked about this last week. They share information, we subscribe to it, and people pay. Data, people actually set up e-commerce platforms that they sell data, analyze data, and sell it to customers or administration or governments or business to business. Intermediary, so incentive marketing, social networks where they have this information. So today we will also decipher between the difference between data and information. Decipher means just to be able to see the difference. Manufacture, purchase, lease, licensing, paid support, so forth, so much. And then subscription that many of us are very familiar with. So hopefully that will serve as a minor reminder of that information. And then we also looked at some of the advantages and disadvantages of having an online business model. We said you can pretty much, as long as it's legal, buy anything online. And also, there's no time constraint. You can filter your search by price, color, size, depending on what you are selling. Then we also said there are some disadvantages associated with having a business model that is online. Fraud is very important. Customers that they don't have the ability to inspect your product. And then also, phishing is another problem online where people can fish for your information and then steal your identity. Sometimes costs and fees are not fully disclosed until you check out. This has happened to many, many people that I know. A product is advertised as, let's say, $3. By the time we get to checkout and pay additional fees, shipping fees, the product becomes, let's say, $30. Someone will put a product into the cart and be super excited to pay $3, but they would not be super excited to pay $30. But if they would have known from the beginning that it would be $30, most likely they may not put it inside the shopping cart. So that's where we say fees and costs are now fully disclosed till checkout. So we're almost done with the recap. And then this leads me into what we were going to discuss in detail. Then we also went into the shopping cart, looking at the front end, what the customer interacts with, and then what we call the back end, which is an administration of how you manage the removal, the edits of that particular page. That's very, very important. So that's what we discussed last week. So now for this week, I want us to really get into, in detail, understanding the core functions of a shopping cart. We introduced it last week, but this week, let's go into great detail. Just to remind you, in this course, you do get credit for participation. So I really encourage you, we began the course very, very well with your active participation. Remember, my job is to ensure that you learn something about e-commerce, but also for you to have confidence in yourself and believe, even if English is not your best language, but at least we try. Either we type it or we participate. So let's get some level of engagement, please. It's very important for the course. And I know you can do it. And I always try to find different creative ways of asking questions that can allow you to participate. So the first one, we are talking about online shopping. And the behavior of a man or a woman, how they shop online is really different. And we have the data to show it. So when you have a shopping cart or a shopping catalog and your target market is men, there are some items that men buy and more than women, and vice versa. So let's start. What items do you buy online if you are a male? So type something in the chat for me. What do you buy online when you are, if you are a male? So let's say if you say you're a man, what items do you buy online? You can put anything in the chat for me, please. So I will lead by example. And for me, as a man, I like to buy shampoo online. That's me, okay? When I'm on Amazon, I purchase shampoo. Okay, anybody else? Can you type in something that you buy online? Only the men for now. Anyone that you classify yourself to be a man, what do you shop online for? It could be clothes. It could be anything. Anybody? You can put it in the chat. If you're not very familiar with the chat, let me know, then I can show you how to use it. Okay. Wonderful. Evan, thank you so much. Clothing and food. Yes, that's very, very common. Thank you so much. Yes, I do buy groceries online. So let's say snacks. So that's food that I can also buy. Clothing, absolutely. Anybody else? Now, the women can also chime in. What, now anybody can chime in now. What do you buy if you're male or female? What do you buy online? This really influences how e-commerce is marketed. Anybody, what do you buy online? Daphne said clothing and food. I said shampoo and snacks. Anybody? Jeremy, what do you buy online? May, what do you buy online? Yolanda, what do you buy online? Dallas, okay, Yolanda, you buy books. That's great, Yolanda. Thank you so much for your participation. Can I have two more? Eva, what do you buy online? Cecilia, what do you buy online? Willow, what do you buy online? Okay, someone wrote toy. That's phenomenal. Nelson, what do you buy online? Betty, what do you buy online? Jane, what do you buy online? Olivia, what do you buy online? Marty, what do you buy online? Ellen, what do you buy online? Andy, what do you buy online? Sylvia, what do you buy online? So Yolanda said she buys shoes. Zoe says food. Adri says cosmetics. I love the engagement. Thank you very much for all those that engage. Feel free to type in. Okay. Daphne said she buys furniture and medicine. That is very true. Contact lens, Nelson. Yes, me too. I wear contacts, so I could agree with you both. I hope it's the solution. Solution is the chemical or the cleaner, which I just type in, that you can buy online. Okay, that is very, or maybe the non-prescription one. Yes, we can buy the non-prescription one. So that is definitely possible. Mine is prescription, is for my glasses. So mine has to be done by a doctor. But the chemical I can buy online to clean it. Wonderful engagements. Thank you so much, Nelson, Daphne, Zoe, Althea, Yolanda, Fanny, and everybody else. Thank you so much for your engagement. Why am I emphasizing, if you look at travel and holiday accommodation, this really blows my mind that I was thinking it will be more men, more women, but you have more men that are online patronizing or shopping for travel and hotel. Household goods, again, that's quite interesting, right? More men. Tickets for events, it's very, very even, so we don't have to say much. Film and music, more men. Computer and technologies, more men. Food and grocery, more women, okay. Clothes and sports goods, more women. Books and magazines, yes, somebody even said here, yeah, slightly close, but more women. Medicine, somebody also said medicine today, more women. Very, very fascinating. So what I was looking at, if you present a group project for an e-commerce site that happens to be selling clothes or sports goods, as you know that your target market is more women are online, that shops for these items. So that would change your marketing approach, the colors you will use, and so forth. This is very, very important to understand: data and information. Because e-commerce takes data and turns it into information. So let us highlight what are the difference between data and information. Data is raw facts served as a foundation for information. It's raw facts. So I call it 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. There sometimes we call them binary ones, 1, 2, 2, 2. These are, you can see that I'm having a little challenging time really drawing my cursor, but I think you get the point. Their raw facts serve as a foundation for information. And data tends to be very unorganized because you can't really tell much with data yet until it's organized or sorted out into a particular format that you can understand. Data does not have any specific purpose, right? It's just collected. And then when it's analyzed, then you can get information. So let me give you an example of your test score, test result of a student, right? So let's say if one student, Chelsea, received a 96 on the exam. Jeremy received, sorry, Jeremy, okay? Jeremy received 50, okay? Ava received 76. Dallas received, let's say, 80, okay? These are all different types of test scores. Don't really mean much, right? It's just the numbers. But when we add them together and get the average, which is adding these numbers and dividing it by the numbers that's there, now it's starting to mean something. But if I would have said, I wanted everyone to get 70% or more, okay? The average, I want the minimum cutoff score, then I know this person is gonna be in trouble. That turns the data into information because I'm analyzing the meaning. We do this in e-commerce all the time when we collect information and when we collect data. So then it turns to process and analyze. I just shown you that right here. Okay, that's the part of analyzing and processing the data. I've organized it. Organized meaning that I can put it in order from biggest to smallest or smallest to biggest. That's organizing the data. Okay, I am filtering it and sorting it out. Serve as an input for insights and decision-making. Okay, imagine if the average of the entire test happens to be, let's say, 54%, which is very, very low. I can take the number 54, okay? I can take the number 54, make sure I draw this again, 54, and it can mean something. The 54% now can mean something in order for me to make a decision of, do I do a retake, or what questions did the student miss the most? Average score of the class, which I just did that for you as an example. That will be more of an information than just the test result of 50, 76, 80, 96. Doesn't say anything until I turn it into information by calculating the average. This is a very important concept to understand and know how to analyze data versus information. Okay, I hope this helped you a little bit to understand the difference between data and information. So as we go deeper into our analysis, it's important to look at some of the core functionality of, somebody put something in the chat. Okay, diving beverage, wonderful. It's important for us to understand the difference between the core functions of shopping cart. Shopping security, solidarity hub of data management. I'm glad, because now we talk about data. And then the establishment of what we call a retail storefront. So for the core functions of a shopping cart, when certain compliance and certification, shopping cart protects customers' identity. This is where the company can ensure that whoever is shopping is who they say they are, because we will have to authenticate. Authenticate simply meaning that they have to prove that the payment information matches what you have on file, especially addresses, right? So when they provide you information that, oh, the address is 221, and that address is not what you have in the system, that means it's protecting your identity and it will reject the payment. Or your bank can say, no, this is not the type of amount that this person will purchase, so I'm going to stop the payment until they verify that it's done. And then the solitary hub of data management, order and payment history of each customer is maintained of the shopping cart. Again, to look at behavior, to ensure that it's easier for processing, is monitored, and then it also could be used as an opportunity to recommend other products and services to you. The third one is an establishment of a retail store. A shopping cart provides easy access to selected products and also collects related pages information. Shopping cart improves the shopping experience and keeps the customer on track of all activities. You've done this before. You go on a particular website, you see that they have product A, they have product B. Sorry, I told you it's very hard to draw. Then they have another set of products, C, and then D. So with the storefront retail function in the shopping cart, it allows you to say, if you like A, you can put it into the shopping cart. We do this all the time. If you like D, you can put it in the shopping cart. If you like C, you can put it in the shopping cart. Okay. And then when you get to the shopping cart, you can even maybe say, you know what? I've changed my mind. I don't like D anymore. You can delete it from there. So it provides an easy access to organize items that you'd be interested in to purchase. So that's the core function of shopping cart. Okay. Let's look at more core functions. So another core function is to look at what we're going to expand on further is a capability of various payment methods. So the last step a customer must carry out is paying for a purchase. Again, it's an important function of shopping carts to ability to collect payment in a very stress-free environment. The shopping cart provides all necessary tools to charge customers without them needing to abandon the shopping cart. The tools of processing and collecting credit card to bank account and operating in a synchronized with payment gateways are provided in a shopping cart with or without a third party, and the shopping cart triggers immediate processing for billing or invoicing. The shopping cart ensures every payment can be processed depending on the type of payment gateway that you have. So let me say the comparability of various payment methods. Customers will pay either by gift card, maybe they have received a voucher, they have received a coupon, they have a store card, they have a credit card, they may even have crypto or any other type of payment. So it's important that the tools are synchronized, what we call synchronization, with payment gateways that is being provided so that processing can take place, which is part of our verifying that it's your identity, verifying you have the amount of money to purchase those items before it's shipped or approved. Feedback and product review, very, very important to e-commerce. According to a study by the Nelson Company in 2009, 70% out of 10 people, 7 people responded, makes it 70% of the respondent find consumers' opinion posted online to be reliable. That is very, very important number, indicating that 70% of the people see what other customers say about the products are reliable or important to them. Customers ask to rate the store, service, give tips on what more can be done to improve services, and also other insights to buying choice. This is extremely important. Let me ask a question again. Today, I really want to engage you. Has anybody ever written a review on a website before? Have you ever provided a review on a website before? I would type my question. Have you ever written a review of a product or service online? Did you provide something positive or negative? Has anyone in this class, have you ever left a message or a comment about a particular product? Let's see if that number applies to our class. Let me lead by example. Yes, I've provided a review. I call it rated for a company. Anybody? Yes or no, or you can provide more information. Have you provided a review, given them stars for their service? Okay. Feel free to answer later. Andy, have you ever given a review before? Nelson, have you given a review before? Sylvia? Rick? Zoe? Jane? Delancey? Chelsea, have you provided a review for a product or service online before? Willow? Sweet? Okay, positive one. Thank you very much. Okay, positive. Okay, so many of your peers have provided positive feedback, which 70% of online shoppers will read it before they make a purchase. So this is very, very important. Thank you for your engagement. Let's check for understanding. So these are available e-commerce payment options, except how can people pay online? Okay, let's ignore the B here, the C here. Let's use the blue line here. So which ones are available for payment options, except? Somebody has typed something. I'll come there in a moment. So we're gonna cross out the ones that we know are available, and then we're gonna put an X to the one that is not. So we know we can use mobile payments. We can use, is it e-wallet? Bank transfer or bank notes. So bank transfer makes sense. So now we have 50-50. Which one of these is left that we need to cross out? That's not the right answer. You can put it. Thank you very much. You are very right. Fanny, yes. So we know that e-wallets is a type of e-commerce. Anything E, so the electronic. This we can send electronic. This we can also send, but banknotes, it's not appropriate because that means we have to send physical cash, and that would defeat the purpose of running an online business. So D is the best answer. Okay, let's do another one. Which one is an example of a shipping or shopping cart core function? Let's say, which one is an example of a shopping cart core function? Feedback product review is compatibility of various payment methods. Analysis of emojis? I don't know. Or what would be the best answer? Would it be A, B, C, or D? And thank you for your very high level of engagement. Zoe, thank you very much. Daphne, thank you. Nelson, thank you. So yes, your answer is 100% correct. It will be D. The best answer is D because A and B are both correct. Thank you very, very much for all of you participating. That has really put a smile on my face. Thank you very, very much. Let's continue. You're doing very well today, everyone. Okay. Okay. So we've spoken a lot about payment gateway. These are some examples of payment gateway. And there's so many more. This is not all of it. We definitely know Alipay is there. There's so many more different online payment gateways that individuals use. Okay. Amazon, MasterCard, Visa. These are very, very popular across the world, especially PayPal. Okay. Now, you should be equally curious to understand online payment process. So what does the process look like when we want to engage in online payment process? So you are the customer. You initiate keyword online transaction with the seller. The seller is providing you with food, cosmetics, medicine, many of the items that you said. And then you select what you like, and then you go to a payment gateway, which gives you different options to pay. So let's say, for example, this I have to use. So payment options. Please, you are doing so great. We are week 6 of our class. And somebody type yes or no in the chat. Can I use cash here? Can I take physical cash here? Can you type it in the chat for me? Because I really want to make sure you understand this very, very well. And it's also interactive. You've been doing so good so far, okay? So let me go into my chat. My question is, in this process of payment gateway, I'm online, can I use physical cash here? Yes or no? Anyone? Can I use cash here? We've already discussed it a little bit. Can I give thank you very much, Fanny. You're 100% right. There's no way I can use physical cash. So I would need an electronic form or method of payment. So in order for it to be electronic, right? If it's electronic, it has to be processed. That's where I really wanted to get to. It has to be processed for authentication of who you are. And then wherever you have your money stored, which we can call it a bank, all right? So wherever you're storing your authorization to show that you have the money, sorry for my very bad drawing, is a bank. And then there's a merchant that acts as an intermediary between you, the bank, and processing of your information with the merchant to render payment to say, yes, that information is good. We'll accept the terms and condition. Please pay the online supplier. Once it's approved, then the merchant will process the payment and give it to the online seller. This is how it looks like every time you hit payment or pay. All of this happens behind the background, sometimes very, very short. It could be done within 30 seconds, 1 minute, etc. In short, it should be fast. Okay, it should be fast. That's the process for online payment gateway. So now let's get into a little bit more detail. So for payment gateway, we see it as payment gateway securely authorized online payment. It allows for transmission of credit card information, approval code, and any confirmation detail back to the shopping cart in a secured way. I've given you some examples: PayPal, Molly, Square, Venmo, Apple Pay, Amazon Pay, Alipay, you name it. So it authorizes online payment. And it's a transmission. Remember what we saw earlier? To approve the credit card information, give you a code or reference number that everything went through, and also some of the global examples. Types of shopping cart payment gateway. Now we're going to get a little technical. There are different ways with which a customer or consumer can pay for the items purchased. Each gateway has peculiarities to a customer choice based on the type of gateway that they feel best with. The following are types of shopping cart payment gateway systems. Very, very important. So we have what we call IMA, which stands for Internet Merchant Account. We have something you've heard of before, TTP, third-party payment, and then MPP, manual payment processing, which, let's say, for example, the supplier gives you a call and you provide your payment information, and then they key that information in for processing. Okay? So it's important that we understand that payment gateway allows for the transmission of sensitive information, which I call a credit card, your address, your PIN, over an authenticated line or gateway or merchant processor, either through IMA, TTP, or MPP. And that's some of the core functions of that. And then we also have what we call internet merchant accounts. So the internet merchant accounts provides that information. This is an account issued by a financial institution. It enables merchants to accept credit card payment online. So these are what we call the internet merchants. There are some physical manual ones, which we'll go over in a moment. So business has to have to separate account for every type of credit card they intend to accept. So have you noticed that if you go on an e-commerce site, they accept different type of payment system? That has to do with the type of information that they are allowed to process because of what I call internet, and I want to highlight this real quick, but I'm having some pointing here. Okay, so when we have the internet merchant, and then they have the different types of maybe payment that they will accept. And some of the most very, very common one, if you're using a card, is MasterCard, Visa, and so forth. Then the third party involves the introduction of another body that serves as intermediary between the merchant and the customer. The benefit of the third party is that it makes selling of goods easier and quicker. Here, the money for the transaction is deposited into a special account and is controlled by the what we call the service provider. Sometimes you hear people refer to this as maybe escrow, or a place where you have to provide a particular service first, and then it needs to be verified before payment could be given. So you can use what we call a third-party merchant. And then the last one we have is manual, like the way the word means itself, manual payment processing. This is the type of gateway option usually employed when there's a limited number of online orders. Here, users can make online orders payment, but payment is done manually. Credit cards are processed manually instead of automated systems or processing. Now, credit card information is acquired via secure server, but then they still process it manually. These are the different types of payment gateways that are available for consumers to use and choose from. And then depending on the type of business you have, you get to determine the good and the bad and the processing of it. Okay. Payment gateways of shopping cart. So 3 factors to consider when choosing a payment gateway. Privacy. It's extremely important. We talked about privacy and security. So if you want to choose which type of payment gateway you will want to use, it's very important that you let privacy of your data, which we talked about today, be very, very important. Credibility, how long they've been around, their reputation, and then also, are they reliable? So credibility is important. they're running a business, nothing is for free. When someone wants to process your payment for you, they can't do it for free. So what you want to do is not allowed. So you want to manage your costs. So costs associated with payment gateways is extremely important to look at the privacy, credibility, and then the cost that's associated with this. So let's check for understanding. Okay. If you can put your answers in the chat and get some participation grade, that'd be phenomenal. Okay. Thank you, excuse me. One of the following is not a payment gateway that we've gone over or that you've seen. PayPal is very, very popular. Apple Pay associated with Apple, and then Amazon Pay. So if you can put your answer in the chat, which one is not? Which one is not? Great, thank you so much for your participation. Thank you so much for your participation there. Okay, so we would know that B is not. So B is the best answer. Okay. Let's also look at the second one. The following are factors to consider when choosing a payment gateway. What are some of the factors? And then one is not correct. Can you do that for me? Wonderful. Thank you for the high level of engagement today. I'm really, really happy when I see everyone try to participate too, okay? Do your best. Nelson, thank you. Fanny, thank you. Daphne, thank you. So I'm gonna go, just in case someone was not able to understand how your peers got it. So remember we talked about privacy, credibility, and then cost. These are all factors that you have to consider before choosing a company to process. It could be internet, it could be a third party, it could be manual, but you still have to factor in privacy, credibility, and cost. So we know that D will not be the best answer. Purchase of an Apple product? No, it's not something that we really want to consider. So D will be the best answer. Good job. So let me clear this. Do you have any questions for me? Is there any questions regarding anything that I've covered before I go into another great detail on the payment gateway? Any questions? You can put it in the chat. It's very important that if I've said something that you want to understand, let me know. We're not done yet. I'm going to go to part 2 of the gateway. Okay. Just to look ahead a little bit, you remember your group project is due on Monday. remember, I will send another video explaining the gateway in great detail. And then as we're getting closer to the end of the course of the semester, it's important that I provide you more assessment for understanding. So next week, I will also prepare another quiz, but I want you to focus on the group project. That's very, very important. Don't worry about the quiz now. I'm just letting you know what's in the future to come. Okay? Wonderful. So let us get into further detailing of payment gateway. I said in my introduction that today we want to really analyze the good, the bad, the in-between of payment gateway. So when you think of payment gateway, think of it as a software service that connects a merchant, which is a third party or somebody in between for a seller, to allow them to be able to process your bank card, your information that you want to use as a form of payment. Remember, we went from bartering to providing e-commerce systems to allow that to happen. The payment gateway is a software service that connects a merchant to acquiring bank or card association. Using one is required to run an e-commerce business and accept payments online. Remember, we cannot accept physical cash, so we must use a payment gateway to process payments. Okay. Okay. I went over the transaction process, but as I said before, a merchant provides the services. We definitely have to do this online. It cannot be done physically. So the internet and then the merchant and the bank, which let me draw this to help a little bit to follow. So this is you, okay? Then there's the merchant business. So merchant here is used twice in two different meanings, okay? So let's say the seller to help us out. Okay. And then we're transacting online, is the internet. And then we've gone through the checkout process. We provided our information, okay? And then now it has to be processed for approval. And then the merchant, which has the system to be able to talk about your credit card information, the code, the expiration, the amount. And then if it's okay, then the order is approved. Great. Okay. So what are the steps? We went over the steps in great detail on the other part, but there are some key elements that I want to highlight here that we do every day, but many of us may not be aware that this is actually part of the administration back end. The customer places an order and provides a payment method. So payment method could be Alipay, PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, or any other form of payment gateway that is accepted. So wouldn't it be awesome to provide that information also in your group project? Hint, hint, right? For this example, let's assume that the customer has placed an order through an e-commerce website and that they're using a Visa credit card issued by State Bank of India, just as an example, for their payment method. As a merchant, all you have is this customer's name, billing address, credit card number, right? Or a token representing the number, it could be anything, expiration date, and possibly the credit card verification. So what we have is credit card verification number, very, very important. It's at the back of the card. Expiration date, the billing address. So sometimes they will want the billing address and the shipping address to match, but customers can explain the difference why it doesn't match or why it does match. So that's step one. It has to be, an order has to be provided. Now let's go to step number two. In step number two, the first stop is the merchant's processor. Note that this is not the company's actual processing the transaction and not necessarily the merchant account provider. If your account provider uses a backend processor, that's where the information will go. Some of the larger merchant account providers have direct processor, meaning that there's no middle man. So the processor now, remember, sometimes people use merchant interchangeably, but here it's important to know that there's a merchant processor to help speak the language between payments, okay, so you have the payment, okay, on one side, so you have the payments, and then make sure that I get my T here. So the payment, and then we have to make sure that it's verified, okay, or it's ensure that it's authenticated, okay, for any of the banks. So let's say for the payment gateway is there, you issue a payment, and then the information, the info has to ensure it's real. So let me just make it easy for myself and just type it over here, please. Okay, I think that's easier for me. So information, security. All right, so you have the security for the information and it's verified, okay? That's the process that needs to be done, and we can use the merchant to, payment is submitted, okay? Okay, and then we can use it that way. It's very, very important. Now we go to step number 3. Step number 3 is saying that the processor, right, then routes the transaction data to the credit card association, or let's say the company here. Although the most popular credit card association, MasterCard and Visa, can approve or decline a transaction. They need to know about it because it's going to charge a small fee. And that's what I said, it's not for free, known as interchange for every approved transaction. your processor will pay this fee and pass it on to you as they process the transaction. So remember, we're talking about there being a middleman or middle person or the gateway. So for this example, it's extremely important that even though we heard of Alipay, Visa, MasterCard, and any of the big associations, they don't process for free. There's a charge. And sometimes the fees, not sometimes, but definitely the fees are passed on to the consumer. When I say the consumer, it may not be direct, but they're given to the small business owner to pay. And that small business owner can pass on that cost without you knowing into the pricing of the item. See how that works? So let's see it from a different angle, okay? Let me go back. This is really, really good information. So in this particular example, right, we have processor, we have association, and then we have the supplier, or let's use the word seller, and then we have the buyer. And then the question is, who pays the fee? Well, the obvious answer is the buyer. So cost is passed onto the buyer, okay? And the price, we call it the price build up, is where you're gonna be able to see the actual cost that is built up. Many times, majority of the time, the buyer is not going to see the exact cost. And sometimes there are percentage, okay, or dollar amount that is processed. Okay, that's very important. Step number 4. This is the most critical step of this entire process for Visa and MasterCard transactions, because this is where the transaction is either approved or declined. Is the credit card valid? Is the customer an authorized user of the card? Are there sufficient funds available that the transaction won't exceed the card's credit limit? Are there other holds or frees on the card? If the answer to all the above is yes, then the transaction is approved. If not, it will be declined, and the bank will transmit a code identifying the reason why it has been declined. I don't know if this has happened to anyone on this call where you have money, but your card has been declined. If this happened to you before, here are some of the reasons why it happened. It's extremely important that we're looking for 2 answers, either approved or declined. And remember, MasterCard, Visa, PayPal, Amazon, Alipay, they only can charge a fee when it's approved. But it's equally dangerous if they don't go through the checklist or proper due diligence to ensure that when we say, is the customer an authorized user of the card? This is a security issue. Do they have the right to use your card? People steal information, they steal card. Are there sufficient funds? Sufficient funds meaning that is there money available? And then remember, cards have what we call credit limit. You can have the money on the card, but have you exceeded your credit limit for the day? Sometimes associations or banks, they put it in place to protect you. Are there any freeze on the card? Is there any transaction disputes? And the goal is to try to get to as many yes than no. But if it's declined, a reason will be provided for why it was declined. Step number 5. If the transaction is approved, keyword if, the transaction is approved, okay? Then the transaction information starts to flow back to another direction. Once the issuing bank has authorized a transaction, it must transmit that authorization back to all affected parties, okay? Parties in the payment processing network, okay? Starting with the credit card association. So we call it the flow back. There are so many individuals that all this needs to happen within 30 seconds or 1 minute, flow back. So you have the merchant, the bank, seller, buyer, and even other logistics, right? So shipping. All of them must be in the loop to ensure that this transaction is approved and it's a go. And they have to reach some level of confirmation, not all the details, card number or the amount. They just need to know that the transaction has been approved. So whatever processes that they need to begin on their end, it could be started. That's very, very important. Okay. So let's clear this and then continue with the next step. We also have the authorization passes from the credit card association to the processor. The authorization passes through the gateway. And that's where I showed you the flow from the previous slide, which was part of the flow back that was necessary from step 5. And these are all some of the steps that are happening behind the scene to ensure that your transaction is approved. The authorization passes to your website so you and your customer know that the card has been approved, part of the flow that I showed you. But the valid authorization, the sale is complete and you can ship the customer's order. What I showed you, part of the entire stakeholders all need that information. At this point, the customer will see temporary authorization on his or her online credit card account. The transaction clears when the issuing bank releases the necessary funds for the acquiring bank to cover the customer's order and pay all the parties. So again, sometimes customers get confused when they see, online orders saying pending, okay? Some of them have taken your money immediately. Nowadays, money is pulled from your account, but pulled but not processed because of step 8. It goes to what we call temporary authorization, because charge backs cost money. So companies are very, very slow to do chargebacks or refunds because they can put transactions temporary. And then many times you hear companies, sellers send multiple emails or SMS communicating orders status, right? Because again, they want to ensure that all parties are on the same page. Okay. Okay. The acquiring bank places the money in your merchant account and alerts the processor. The processor then processes the transaction. The processor, credit card association, acquiring bank, and issuing bank all get cut of the processing fee. What left gets deposited into the business bank's account, which is an account different from your merchant account. Although everything up to step 8 can take in a matter of seconds, takes for automation. Step 9 takes a little bit longer. Merchants usually receive their funds within 48 hours of receiving authorization. This time frame could be shorter or longer depending on several factors. Some processors can get your money to you in about 40 hours. At the same time, if the transaction is flagged for possibly being fraudulent, the funds might be held for several days or longer while processor investigates the matter. So this matter, reason I want to share this with you, this is really, really important, step 9, because for anyone that wants to be in e-commerce, at the end of the day, you're in a business to make money. But merchants usually will receive their funds, and let's say merchants could be the seller here, 48 hours. But depending on some, you get 24 hours, it's not instant. And many provide services so that money could be released to them, but they do charge for that. So a company, okay, so you can have a finance broker that factors, we call it factors, the accounts receivables, right? So for those that are into accounting, and then pay the supplier, the seller upfront and wait for the merchant processor to send them the money, all for a fee. As you know, we always say time is money. That has to be provided there. We have a few more minutes left in class, so that's step number 9. And I hope this is very, very helpful to you because we're going into great detail about how merchants really work. And we know, as we said already, there are some core functions of payment gateways that will make people feel very comfortable. And we've always said security methods used for payment gateways to safeguard the customer's money. Security is at the forefront of the customer's money. So payment gateways, merchants will have to demonstrate what they're putting in place to make their transmission or their flow very secure. Data encryption is one. Remember, data encryption. Today, we spoke a lot about 1, 0, 0, 1. Let's say this character, the @ sign, 1, 1, 3, 3. This could be an example of a data encryption of the word, let's say, someone's CV, okay? A number that they are put in to be 244, 455, it can appear like the above. That's an example of data being encrypted. It's being transmitted as this, but it really means 455. So once you enter the credit card details in the payment gateway, it gets encrypted by using payment gateway public key that can only be de-encrypted by the payment gateway private key. See? So private key versus public key. So the gateway uses an algorithm. This is an example that I provided. It could be very simple or very complex, which makes sure that no authorized party can decrypt and encrypt the data being transmitted through the network. Remember, electronically. These algorithms usually follow a symmetric same key encryption and decryption. And symmetric or different key of information, or let's say encryption and de-encryption, typography here to mask the data here. See what we've done? So that unauthorized sources are unable to read or intercept it. That's the key to what we call data encryption. This is extremely important, even when you're using apps, sending information, sending secure information over the internet or other networks. Is all essential information. It needs to be secured. Okay, so I want to begin to stop here. Does anyone have any questions about payment gateways, what they are, what are some of the core functions, how secure they are, and the entire process? Because we spent a lot of time today discussing the process of payment gateway and how it helps. So I will provide another video going into more great detail about payment gateway. Now, if you're wondering, all this information doesn't have to be in the group project. No. You can touch a little bit on it so that we can know that you have an understanding of what an e-commerce platform that has a payment gateway associated with it is doing. That'll be very, very helpful. Thank you so much for your time today. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing your group project. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or any member of the team. We'll be happy to support you all that we can. You guys did a great job today. I am so proud of you for coming today, answering the questions, and ensuring that you have a good understanding of your assignments and your project. I am very happy to be your instructor, and I know you've put in a lot of work and effort to be here every day and to be part of this class. Don't give up. You will make it. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye. See you on Monday. Bye. Class is over. I'll stick around if you have any questions in the chat. I'll answer it for you. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye, Zoe. Bye, Sue. Bye, Yolanda. Bye, Jeremy. Bye, Sweet. Bye, Betty. Bye, Chelsea. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Daphne. You did a great job today. I'm very proud of you.
Bye.
Bye, Jeremy. Thank you so much for your help, Jeremy. I'm very grateful. Kerwin, bye. Levin, bye. Jadizi, bye. Betty, bye. Yume, bye. Rick, bye. Bye, everyone. DC, bye.